welcome as you join us in the first 10 turns of a new culture game with Jadwiga of Poland. We're using our standard fare of selection options, including Deity difficulty, online speed, as well as tech civic shuffles, which I honestly quite prefer in terms of how simplistic and easy to understand it is compared to the convoluted and quite meandering unshuffled version. And we should have a look at Jadwiga's kit, shall we? Let's do that. Okay, so she has plenty of things, both regarding Poland and herself specifically. Features and abilities. Lithuanian Union. Poland's majority religion becomes a dominant religion in cities that lose a tile to a Polish culture bomb. That's really cool. You can get potentially Congress to give you the culture bomb. Certain great people can give you culture bombs. And also, of course, they have their own specialties, don't they? Holy sites gain faith adjacency bonus from adjacent districts. That's really cool because we always like to pile our districts together in nice little triangles, and holy sites will benefit greatly from that. All relics provide bonus faith +2, culture +2, and gold +4. You know, this civ would have been great if I'm using my current strategy for culture games, but I believe this was one of the first culture games that I played on Deity, so I wasn't actually doing the whole get reliquaries, get St. Basil's, get Mont St. Michel, and pump my entire civilization with whole tons of relics yet. But there are definitely ways to exploit this. Golden Liberty, culture bomb adjacent tiles and completing an encampment or fort inside friendly territory. Now, doing this with a fort is a lot better than an encampment. For one, they're removable. So if you're ending up using one of the tiles that you want for a national park, you can do so with a fort, where you can't undo an encampment. And also, encampments provide -1 appeal. So even if you're only hitting adjacent tiles, you're still not making it great for the national park itself. One military policy slot in our current government that is converted to a wildcard slot. This is an interesting one, because why is it only one? I don't really understand the specifics of that, but whatever. We have Teddy Roosevelt, who has a similar ability that converts old diplomatic slots into wildcard slots. It still should be fairly powerful. We have Winged Hussar, which is a fairly late Renaissance-era unit that replaces a Cuirassier, which is defending enemy units back from 1 hex in any battle where they score more damage. Defenders that cannot retreat suffer additional damage. That's pretty cool. Sukunice, building unique to Poland's international trade routes from the city, gain +2 production. Very helpful for not having to necessarily build industrial zones. Domestic trade routes gain +4 gold. Very good, especially early on, because I prefer using domestic trade routes until international ones and alliances get stronger. And, of course, the +1 trade route capacity if it doesn't have a lighthouse. Hopefully this game will show a whole bunch of surprises and be quite enjoyable, and I look forward to seeing you then. Well, I promised a whole bunch of surprises, and we're about to get our very first one. We're going to move this warrior down to the left.
Oddly, it appears not to be the scar of a meteorite, but a deeply eroded dome with a rainbow-inspired colour scheme.
Lovely. There's the Eye of Sahara, which is perfect for us. It gives us the astrology boost, and it also gives us some nice adjacency. I actually think Eye of Sahara might be the most maligned natural wonder in the game. And I understand why. It's because it's usually surrounded by desert tiles. However, we just so happen to have the very best Eye of Sahara I've ever seen. Look at it, though. It's hilarious. It has all what you'd want. It's a triangle-shaped wonder, which is perfect for district placements of the holy sites. It has its benefits, which are both production and science, things that I usually don't necessarily focus on, so it's great to have it coming from this wonder. On the wonder tiles itself that you can't build on anyway, which is much better than it being distributed around it, it's surrounded in the middle of forestries and all manner of, jungle and things like that. I'll be using great use out of this, and I look forward to showing you the kind of buildings and cities that we're going to be able to establish around it. Okay, so we have our first main establishment of settlements now put in place. We have, 6 cities now? Yes, our first 6 cities have been established. And we also met a few neighbors. We've met the Babylonians, we've met the Indians, and we met the Greeks. They're all to the west of us, as you can see. So we have quite a bit of land to ourselves. We can further explore south, we can further explore north. You'll see us being able to make quite a lot of good out of the amount of land we can obtain. And speaking of Poland's encampments, we indeed did get a culture bomb over here, but the biggest priority of getting encampments is the access to some early classical wonders like Terracotta Army and Statue of Zeus. It is always kind of a shame to do the Terracotta Army first, but since my main goal is simply to get the wonders and not necessarily care about what they give us, I think it's totally fine to do it this way. But of course, you'd rather have the units first before the promotions. So let's see what this turn brings.
Upon the head of the god was an olive crown. In his right hand he bore a winged figure of victory. Come, let us build ourselves a city with a tower that reaches to the heavens, so that we may make a name for ourselves.
Now that was quite the majestic pair of wonders in a single turn, wasn't it? The music, the words, jeez. And the sheep. Advancing 20 or so turns further into turn 76 around the mid-game point, and as you can see I've done an awful lot of pinning. Particularly I've been marking out every single area that I think is viable for national parks, also with dottings of city parks from Liang that will hopefully allow us to get the appeal that we want. In every culture game going forward I will be doing this. I aim to hopefully get around about, on average, 20 or so, sometimes more, sometimes less, national parks across my civilization, and it certainly can be done, especially with the aid of ways to buff appeal. We have a whole bunch of barbs in the south, but hopefully we can get ourselves a heathen conversion apostle there and be able to start taking advantage of this land too, because it seems to be quite open for us to be able to settle here. There is, of course, India starting to come down south, but this is as far as they've made it. There's still plenty of time to be able to maybe take advantage of some of this, and as you can see, our scout archer here has already found some of the land for us to take. It's been a really nice way of settling. We've had our whole land to ourselves, being able to be aided by the blockades of certain city-states like Vatican City. Found a whole bunch of different city-states, in fact, throughout our lands, and we've been able to seize quite a few of them too. At least one culture, one faith, one gold. So it's really good that we've been able to get our way to making Kilwa for this game, because this is going to give us an awful lot of advantage going forward.
Kilwa is one of the most beautifully built cities in the world. The houses there are entirely made of wood, their rooftops out of rope grass, and it rains with great vigor.
There it is! Kilwa Kisawani! Yeah! One of the Civ community's favorite wonders, and one that is pretty damn good, I must say. I'm not really opposed to liking Kilwa. I do think it's better in a standard speed game because you get more control over your suzerainty, and that is a huge part of what makes this particular wonder great. However, we have now established a perfect place for a theatre square. We have two wonders over here, we have a district here, and if we perhaps build something, maybe even a wonder, if not a district over here, neighborhood, whatever it may be, we will be able to make quite a nice theatre square. And it's at this point, when I have at least a +4 adjacency bonus, that I like to get on with making the theatre square. That +4 will hopefully provide very nicely. There's a certain policy card that one can use that benefits of having theater squares be +4 adjacency, and generally +4 is what you're looking for. You can definitely go a lot higher, especially with, you know, districts like theater squares, much like industrial zones and such, but I'd say that's the point when you want to make them. Prior to that, there are too many wonders to want to go get, and if you're not prioritizing them, you're not getting them. So I think this is the perfect opportunity for doing something like this mid-game. It's also why you know, when it comes to certain beliefs and such, I don't really like early game beliefs because I'm not really building all the districts first. In the culture game, I'm building predominantly wonders first and the districts that they require. Quite a few developments have happened over the last 40 odd turns. For one, we've made quite a bit of a second settlement in the northern part of the map on a particularly very nice separate continent on Europe and even Kalahari compared to where we originally started back in America. This is why we've been able to make use of the colonial offices, which allows 15% faster growth and plus free loyalty per turn for cities that are not on our original capital continent. Loyalty is not as important, but certainly the growth has allowed these cities to become double digits in size and helps promote the growth of these newer ones, and that's been very helpful. Our target was rather low, to be honest. I've had a lot of games now that have gone above 300, which I can't wait to show you guys, but that's for another time. This one only being 266 is actually quite low for me. I think, at least on online speed games, if you're not on it early, you have to take so much traveling tourists to be able to get over the line. So that's been pretty cool. We also, if I look up national parks here, we were able to build quite a few of them, especially in our newer northern settlements. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. 19 different ones. India kept trying to take this land. I was like, fine, let them, whatever. They were so damn eager to make sure that we didn't have anything to do with this continent. But whatever. It's fine. But yeah, a real fun game. The Eye of Sahara is definitely the piece de resistance, even with it being pillaged by a stupid desert storm. Because that's just nuts. That's what you want. Honestly, I say Eye of Sahara is probably a B level wonder for me in the tier list. It's only blighted by usually being surrounded by tons of desert that you can't do anything with, especially if you're like Vietnam or something. But here, it was wonderful for us. It was really great. It helped us get over the line. We weren't pressured too greatly. Simon Bolivar did get to the final stage, but only just. Yeah, it was a fun game. I hope you had fun too. I'll see you in the next one.
The worth of a culture is not measured by its accomplishments, but in how those accomplishments last and how they are remembered. The beauty that you have inspired our people to create will ensure that our culture stands for all time.